find out more about who. Nardo. Who is Nardo? Where the money come from? Guess what? Over Nardo where we reach now.
Yeah, okay,
Nardo, pull up to a chair now. Meet us up front, Nardo.
All right.
Jamaica, make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out. Don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
The Police High Command have reacted strongly to criticisms about the lack of body-worn cameras among members of the constabulary who engage in operations and, of course, in law enforcement on the nation's streets. They say their critics are misleading with the information that they're giving to the public and that there is no benefit in the narrative that certain entities have taken where the issue of body-worn cameras is concerned. We thought we had put together a crack team, but we know that we have the Indicom Commissioner with us. Let's hear from the JCF and the JFG as we go along to have this very important discussion. Body-worn cameras, are they close or are they still far away from being regularly used by the police force? That's the discussion here on Lead Story on this Monday. You would have seen me recently with the Commissioner of Indicom, Hugh Faulkner, talking about some issues, including the number of police fatal shootings. And of course, we went into the issue of body-worn cameras. He says he believes that perhaps our legislators need to do something because the fact of the police personnel ignoring directives from the High Command about body-worn cameras is itself very troubling. Jamaicans for Justice, they've also opined on the issue, saying that the penetration of body-worn cameras among security personnel on the nation's streets, that it is woeful, it is subpar, it is suboptimum, and they're calling on the JCF to increase the number of cameras that are deployed and in use. The police have hit back and said, look, it's not that they're talking nonsense, they're spreading misleading information, and it is dangerous, the narrative, to suggest that police fatal killings are linked to the absence of body-worn cameras, and their statement seeks to poke holes into that argument. Well, what is the situation? In case you were under a rock and you've not known how the issue of the argument around body-worn cameras has advanced, this piece should help you.
The JCF has had a complicated history with body-worn cameras, with the JCF at times seemingly embracing the initiative publicly. But anecdotally, how many police officers have been spotted wearing body cams? Well, if the anecdotes aren't convincing enough, the Independent Commission of Investigations, Indicom, reported that in 2024, the commission, in its out of 252 shootings in the year, no body camera was activated by the police. Bodies such as Indicom and organizations like Jamaicans for Justice have long argued that body-worn cameras were necessary to the police accountability framework by capturing real-time footage of encounters, proving an objective record that can protect both citizens' rights and officers' integrity. With a clear, unbiased account of events, disputes over the conduct of an encounter can be resolved more fairly. This transparency not only supports the integrity of legal proceedings, but also helps rebuild community trust by showing a commitment to accountability. Currently, there are no legal mandates for members of the JCF to wear body cams, just policies that guide the practice. But Jamaicans for Justice is alleging that the JCF has been resisting widespread use of the body cams. In a statement, the human rights lobby group said the lack of body-worn cameras and the rising number of fatal shootings create an environment of suspicion that may may erode public confidence in law enforcement. JFJ went on to call for the use of body cams in zones of special operations and for legislation to be put in place to mandate the wearing of body cams. Indicom also registering their concern by highlighting the lack of use of body cams during planned operations. But the JCF penned a sharp response. The JCF accused the group of spreading misinformation and reiterated their commitment to using technology such as body cams to improve the quality of policing in Jamaica. So where do we go from here? Should the Parliament legislate the matter and enforce body cam mandates? Well, we discuss on Lead Story.
All right. After the break, the Commissioner of Indicom, Hugh Faulkner, and the Senior Communications Strategist at the Jamaica Constabulary Force, SSP, Dennis Brooks.
The Ministry of National Security presents Cyber Smart Conference 2025, February 11 to 12 from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the AC Marriott Hotel under the theme Stay Safe in Cyberspace. Join leading experts and professionals to advance cybersecurity practices and build a safer cyberspace for all. Gain the knowledge and tools to address emerging threats in the digital world. To register and for more details, visit mns.gov.jm. That's the Cyber Smart Conference 2025, February 11 to 12 at the AC Marriott Hotel. See you there!
What would you do if a date asked you how much you weigh?
Leave. It was going so well until.
Ask him how much his mama weighs.
All new Family Feud.
It's the Battle of the Gardens. Two former champions. Arnett and Tivoli Gardens renew rivalry once again. Once one of the most heated matchups in local top-flight football, both teams battle for bragging rights under the lights. Monday Match Night has got you covered from build-up all the way through to the final whistle. Watch CVM TV Monday, February 3 to see Arnett versus Tivoli Gardens. Kickoff is 7:45.
Monday Match Night, powered by Sunshine Snacks and ABC Electrical.
Sports should be fun. Sports should be interesting. Sports should be entertaining. Sports should be riveting. This is CVM Sports. I'm Jordan Fort.
Steve knows style.
That jacket! When was you in the Temptations? You are my alter ego.
And Steve gives in to his own temptation. Family Feud.
Brought to you by We Are the Caring Store, waiting to serve you. It's time to experience independent living. Visit us today.
SLB empowers my future.
Body-worn camera is not only does it provides more safety and affirmative to the civilians them, but also reliability and accountability to the JDF police force.
A lot of time people tell lie on them, and wearing a body cam, then it will prove that they were in there right, doing their job right.
Police should wear the camera to confirm whatever them say happening and whatever evidence really.
Yes, I believe they should, because the story go both ways, because you have civilians who is liar and you have police who is liar. So when the body cam catch whatever happened, transpire, the proof is there.
Yes, I think police should wear body cams because they are lies, they are liars. They can cover up when nothing goes like that.
There's so many things they do against the law that if they had a camera, they wouldn't have a work. Honestly, I'm a driver.
Body-worn camera is not only does it provide...
Yeah, so there you go, the sentiments of Jamaicans, reflecting what the Jamaicans for Justice, the human rights lobby group, has been saying, the distrust of the police in certain situations among the population. And the executive director of JFJ, Michael Jackson, says that's why it is an imperative for the constabulary force to be outfitted with body-worn cameras at the level that can give people confidence that interactions will be recorded, and perhaps the presence of the body cameras will regulate and moderate the response of the police in potentially dangerous situations. JFJ's call is one call. The other call is being made by Indicom, and that call has been consistent even before the latest figures showed that the number of police fatal killings had increased. Hugh Faulkner, the commissioner of Indicom, has said it is necessary, and Indicom have cut the police some slack. They've said, look, there is no doubt in their minds that the leader of the constabulary force, Dr. Kevin Blake, believes in body-worn cameras. It's just an issue where the men and women of the force who take orders from the high command, they are not so receptive to the issue of using these tools to regulate certain dangerous conditions. I have with me online the commissioner of Indicom, Hugh Faulkner, and joining me on set is the senior communications strategist at the JCF, senior superintendent Dennis Brooks. Gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to Lead Story.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Faulkner.
Good evening, Mr. Brooks, and good evening, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Commissioner. I come to you first, Commissioner. The issue has been given fresh oxygen by Jamaicans for Justice, drawing a parallel between the number of fatal police killings and what they say is the alarming lack of body cameras in use in the JCF, and what Michael Jackson has long said, a suspicion among the Jamaican people about the intentions and the purity of action of members of the constabulary, being supported, unscientific as it was, by the members of the public who we spoke to in that vox pop, giving further strength to the argument, Commissioner, that the time is now, you would agree, for body-worn cameras to not be an issue that we're bickering over anymore in the public domain.
Indeed, Judge. And nothing supports policy like data. Policy without data sometimes may be suspect. But when you look at the data for January of 2025, 28 fatalities were recorded. And from my recollection, none had indicated the use of a body-worn camera. If there was any, it would have been in one instance. And in 2024, as indicated by the previous data of 252 shootings and fatal shooting incidents, and we had 189 fatalities, none recorded, the use of a body-worn camera. You know, George, the key word in a discussion of this nature is accountability. And I think accountability would be the word, would be the sentence, would be the paragraph, and would be the essay.
And so, SS Brooks, I come to you because JFJ saying it, Indicom saying it, without the cameras, there's no accountability. But I sense that the JCF is pushing back against the narrative that fatal police shootings occur because there are no body cameras at play.
You know, my challenge with the argument is that it's a non-starter. And I think that persons, listening to the Vox Pop, it is clear that the person's expressions are a reflection of the narratives that have been allowed to dominate because of the things that are said repeatedly which are not true. So there's this notion that the police don't want to wear them or are resisting them. There's this constant notion of that, and I'm saying it's an absolute false narrative.
So why are they being worn?
Well, in a law enforcement entity of the size of the JCF with over 8,000 operational members, we are larger than many police forces in states in the US, and they don't have 100% rollout. I have done the research. I have looked at even in discussions of body cams in NYPD, and they talk about the gradual rollout. In a country like Jamaica, we have to understand that body cameras are extremely expensive to roll out and ensure that they are widespread. And we have spent billions, not millions, billions with a B dollars in Jamaica so as to provide the infrastructure on the back end, because these cameras are going to be producing footage that will have to be of evidential value. The storage needs to be beyond question. The chain of custody needs to be beyond question. We have put many hundreds of hours of training of our members. I have been party to training of members in body-worn cameras, and they will tell you they want the cameras because more than anything else, the camera ensures that their story is told. Because when you see videos, you never see the video. Have you ever seen a video that starts at a point that is not convenient to the person making the video? Never. And so what we have in Jamaica is, right now, there are just over 700 body cams in use.
I'll ask you to pause on that point. Let me take the break and come right back. I have Hugh Fortner, the Indicom Commissioner, with me, and the JCF's Senior Communications Strategist, SSP Dennis Brooks. Body cameras is the topic under discussion.
Join my private room. Only $1,000 for a grand time.
That I know me. We never said that. But who going to believe me?
That is correct. $4,350,000. Yes, go ahead. $4 million? I never approved that.
Yes, me go doctor tomorrow. So me have to get the money today, no longer. Then no me face that. I never make no record, I beg nobody no money.
Deepfakes are AI-generated images and videos made to look and sound like people we know and trust. They're used to spread misinformation, destroy reputations, and are used to commit fraud and scams.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes. Protect yourself. For more information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or scan the QR code on screen.
Come rise with sunrise, Yendi and Dennis are still in business. First up, we'll give you some inspo. It's a reggae decor hall. Hang tight, we may experience some turbulence. The reggae icon joins us in studio for some sweet skanking. Then our glam squad hangs out for an extended sunrise. It's the Sunrise Style Check Grammy Edition. You've never seen a sunrise quite like this.
Welcome back to a lead story here on CVM TV. The issue of body-worn cameras, BWC for short, and the use by the police of them. JFJ says the use is woeful. Indicom have said the same thing, and they've said the time has long passed for these things to be a common tool used by the police in interaction with members of the public, especially on planned operations. And I want to ask you, Indicom Chief Hugh Fortner, there's an argument that Indicom, because of its record over time of not being able to secure as many convictions of police personnel as it would like where fatal interactions with members of the public are concerned, that Indicom is flogging this issue of body-worn cameras because they're almost saying that without these body-worn cameras, we can't convict police personnel involved in fatal shooting incidents with members of the public. Your response to that point?
Right. So, George, as you would appreciate, Indicom carries out an investigation, and the sum total of that investigation is reflected in a commission's report. That commission's report is submitted to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, and from that, a ruling is made. In 2024, we had, in fact, 2024, we had 24 rulings for charge. Of the rulings for charge in 2024, 9 cases resulting in 11 fatalities were for murder. Those 9 cases resulting in 11 fatalities saw 9 JCF officers being charged for 10 of the 11 fatalities and 1 JDF officer being charged for 1 fatality. Now, Judge, when the matter is put before the court, INDECOM has no control over whether a jury or judge convicts an accused person. So INDECOM could not, given the structure of our justice system, take responsibility, because there may be cases where the jury takes a particular decision. That decision could be based on who the deceased is, etc. So there are a number of factors that go into a jury deciding yea or nay, deciding guilt or exoneration.
Is there, Commissioner, any credence to another argument that the fact of the matter where police interactions with gunmen or suspects, criminal suspects is concerned, is that the narrative from INDECOM makes it suggest that were there body-worn cameras at play on the police uniform, then perhaps that by itself would have influenced the actions of the gunmen to not challenge the police, and maybe the police themselves would have behaved differently. People say INDECOM is selling the issue of the body-worn camera as if it and it alone will change the dynamic of the interaction between police and gunmen, hence resulting in fewer fatalities. Is that an argument that you give any credence to?
Judge, I beg to disagree with that position, and I can understand a person's perspective, because INDECOM has not been short of discussions which may not necessarily align with our own thinking. And we understand that Jamaica, with the crime rate, there may be perspectives that do not find favor with our perspective. Judge, INDECOM has never sold that narrative, because for each case, we are required to be independent, objective, and impartial. So you cannot transfer a concept onto cases. So we give you the bare, unembellished data.
Yes.
But we don't attribute that data to the conduct.
Yes.
When speaking of body-worn cameras, one of the bases that we, apart from the accountability, and you know the JCF, I think, share our perspective on the value of digital footage. Just look at Jamaica Eye, how helpful it has been to the JCF and to the country to resolve certain incidents. But we are saying the use of body-worn cameras in general, not to any specific case, can be a deterrent on how the public conducts himself or herself or the officer.
Hear you on that.
But to interject, so I mean, and a lot of the comparisons that are made, for instance, when people are speaking about comparing police fatal shootings in the U.S. The majority of police fatal shootings in the U.S. that people are talking about are routine traffic stops, routine public interactions. We believe that in terms of our operational officers, that body cams, we only get so many at a time. We are competing with a public sector that is seeking funding for many things. And when the government gives us hundreds of millions of dollars to purchase a few hundred, we can only purchase, so it cannot suddenly be ubiquitous. So this argument that, you know, they need it, the time has come for it to just exist everywhere. It cannot be, because we are not the ones in charge of the public purse to purchase them.
But let me ask you this. The Hugh Faulkner's deputy, Hamish Campbell, has been here since about 2014, Commissioner? About 2014 is when Hamish came?
Yes, approximately.
All right. And he has said, SSP Brooks, that from the time he has been here, he saw the first prototype body-worn camera in about 2014.
Yes.
And fast forward 11 years, he remains miffed that 11 years later, despite talk about build out of the infrastructure, build out of the technology backbone, the appropriate camera to be worn to the right uniform, he's still miffed that 11 years later we're not talking about substantial rollout. How does the JCF respond to that?
No, but I don't buy that argument from Hamish Campbell because, for instance, a decade ago, you may have had a particular benefactor donating a particular brand and type that they thought was good and workable, and it wasn't, or the back end was not established in the way that it should. I think the matter has been settled in the last maybe 5 years or so in terms of the technology infrastructure that needs to be in place, but that takes quite a bit of taxpayers' dollars for that to be in place. Now the cameras are being rolled out on a annual basis, and that is happening, but those must go, and it is the JCF that makes operational decisions to decide on whose bodies those cameras must go, particularly persons who are in the highest public engagement.
So based on where things are, SSP Brooks, on this day in sports, we will never see body-worn cameras saturate the JCF based on what you're saying. But when are we likely to reach acceptable coverage where those who need it can have it at their disposal and the data can be securely served?
Well, I mean, I can't project in
terms... Well, I want to take a percentage in terms of where you are on the road to development. Are you 50%? Are you more than 50%?
No, as I said, we have just over 700 cameras, and we are seeking to outfit 8,000 members with them. The JCF, we have increased our force to over 14,000 members, not all of which are operational. And so you're trying to get those body cameras onto the bodies of 8,000 members. That is going to take time. But the point I'm making is this issue of accountability. Some of the times you will see members put their own phones there because just out of a desire to be accountable. But if I might, because I want people to understand this and understand it well, that the JCF is not resisting the implementation of body cameras, neither the high command or the members.
Do you get the impression, Hugh Faulkner, that the JCF is led by a man who understands the importance of the body-worn cameras, one, who understands the need to have it within respectable distribution across the JCF, two, and is committed to making that happen in the quickest possible times? 3 clear questions.
Right, but Judge, I think in dialogue with you, I had indicated, and to support our point, we just have to be faithful to truth. And we have indicated that in our stakeholder consultation, the current Commissioner of Police has expressed the willingness and the intent to further the body cam process. So that goes without saying. But notwithstanding that intent, and we understand that there would be matters of procurement, etc. We do not go into the backroom basis. What Indicom is saying, we are desirous of seeing the implementation of body-worn cameras, and we inquire through our interviews whether an officer would have been issued with, trained in the use of, or activated a body-worn camera.
Hear you on that. Have to go, Commissioner. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Thank you, SSP Brooks. That's all the time we have. Nika Lewis is lining up for the news at 7.
Come rise with sunrise. Come rise with sunrise. Yendi and Dennis are still in business. First up, we'll give you some inspo. It's a reggae decor haul. Hang tight. We may experience some turbulence. The reggae icon joins us in studio for some sweet skanking. Then our glam squad hangs out for an extended sunrise. It's the Sunrise Style Check Grammy Edition. You've never seen a sunrise quite like this. You
can open a Sagicor Bank savings account from anywhere. Go online and open yours today.
The time by Sagicor Bank is
7 o'clock.
CVM News Headlines Monday, brought to you by Hawkeye Electronic Security Limited.
Coming up in CVM News at 7, elderly Jamaicans struggle as only 32% receive a pension. Dr. Dayton Campbell threatens defamation suit. PNP presses party's agenda despite interruption at rally. In the business report, it's small biz, big dreams. And in sports, it will be a clash of the gardens, Arnett versus Tivoli in CVM TV's Monday Match Night.
CVM News Headlines Monday, brought to you by Hawkeye Electronic Security Limited.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. It's Monday, February 3, 2025. Thanks so much for having joined us. Let's remind you, it's an abbreviated newscast making way for CVM TV's Monday Match Night at 7:45 p.m. PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell has threatened to sue entertainer and social media personality Mr. Vegas for alleged defamatory statements. The political figure made his intentions known at a PNP constituency meeting in Northwest St. Catherine on Sunday. Political firebrand and PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell is threatening to bring yet another popular personality before the courts in another defamation suit. This time, dancehall entertainer known by his moniker Mr. Vegas was singled out from the critics.
Every boy or girl was set up. Me and them are courthouse starting with so Mr. Vegas, you better tell you and take away yourself and pure somebody because you cannot escape anymore.
Dr. Campbell insists, despite many attempts to tarnish his reputation, he remains unscathed, offering instead clarification to the claims leveled against him.
I see them all attack the league and them all attack themselves. It's alright, not a problem. But we used to overcome the challenges when we are going. First, people attacked my reputation in the most vicious way about 3 years ago. Then after that, shots fired over one station me. Them say me make it happen. No, never come tell a lie. But me misallocate money. I don't work at parish council. I don't have no standing to instruct no parish council. So I can't misappropriate anything.
He then ventured into the scriptures of Nehemiah, striking a comparison with the people rebuilding after much turmoil and the party rebounding after much loss.
When the distraction don't work, they come now to come try and disrupt them, say that we attack them. That them say, you know, Comrade Jackson. They say that we go attack them in the night and sneak up on them. Same thing. They don't want to get up now and say that we go attack them. Because first them didn't say nothing, but now them see serious, them say that we go attack them. Well, like Brother Nehemiah, he had his building instrument in one hand, and he had his sword in the next hand. As we rebuild with a fighter, the most Tambalan and Tubalan.
In other news, frustration boiled over in St. Andrew Monday morning as taxi operators and residents took to the streets in protest. Their grievance, a long-standing issue that has made daily commute nearly unbearable. Shante McNeil reports.
Maneuvering potholes is one thing, but imagine having to do so while navigating a roadway flooded with foul, overflowing sewage. For residents, especially taxi operators along Waltham Park Road in St. Andrew, this has become an unbearable reality. Fed up with the conditions, drivers halted service Monday, blocking the roadways in fiery protest, demanding action. They say the problem stems from clogged drains.
Can't take the stench. Children that are going to school, they're having problem passing here. They have a detour. Business places having the same problem. No, normally we don't have the peak hours in the morning and in the evening, but because of the bad road condition, that is right through the day. It is happening right through the day, and all we hear is these promises, empty promises, and nothing is being done. They used to create the drain on a regular basis. And it's been years we haven't seen that.
But the issue, they argue, goes beyond patchwork. Drivers say recent repairs were insufficient, calling for a long-term solution.
Here and there we have water problem. You don't need to put any asphalt there because it's causing more problem and more money. So what you're gonna do for we now, you have part of the road where water settle because the road is at level. And them part they keep on mashing up and sending down a lot of big hole in the road. The part that we're on the road where a damage, you see a water damaging part there. So you put concrete in them structure there.
Residents want the authorities to step in and fast.
All we get is empty promises. We don't want to hear that now. We need results now. That is what we want, results. The whole talking now work. That now help the situation.
Shante McNeil, CVM News.
More often than not, when most people consider the issue of migrant deportation, a very vulnerable segment of the population is forgotten: the children. CVM News spoke with stakeholders on the trauma and impact of deportations on children. With scores of deportees expected in short order given the U.S. President's mass deportation plans, Jamaica is on high alert to chart a course for reintegrating those with useful skills and no other criminal antecedents. However, for those with a record of deviance, there's a rigid intel gathering and heightened vigilance process in train. In much of the chaos, one critical group could be overlooked: the children. Criminologist Dr. Jason Mackay notes the trauma of such an exercise.
It's extremely traumatizing because you're being sent out of your country, which you know as your country, where you're quite possibly being born, but you cannot stay if your parents are leaving, or you came there as very, very young, so you know nothing else, and then being uprooted, perhaps to go to a country where the language spoken is different. The levels of poverty are different. The culture of the country is different. Everything. It's an extremely traumatizing thing for an adult, much as a child. And there's very little ways you can actually cushion this blow once you move in this direction, which is why you should never allow your country to get to this direction, where you have somehow allowed in this many undocumented people. Because when you start to act on it, you come across as inhumane.
A view held by former Jamaican ambassador to the United Nations and diaspora member Ambassador Curtis Ward, who shares the effect of the mass deportations will be dire, especially for families.
It is inhumane, it is immoral, and it is totally anti-immigrants of color in particular. And you may also say the program is racist. Chances of being picked up is significant, and if you can leave the country before being picked up in this dragnet and resettle back in your home country, you'll be a lot better off.
Countdown to the next general election continues. Party leaders doubled down on their vision for justice and governance. With more, here's Shante McNeil.
Freedom and justice. That was the message PNP candidate for Northwest St. Catherine, Senator Damian Crawford, delivered Sunday night as he launched his campaign in the constituency. But just as the crowd of PNP supporters rallied around him, his speech was interrupted.
The police never said it looked like we are reached near. We passed the time because of state of emergency. No man, I saw it go call me there from 10 o'clock this morning. And you will always get time to hear the Freedom Manifest.
But the interruption didn't stop him. He pressed on, summarizing his message before welcoming PNP President Mark Golding on stage, who wasted no time taking aim at the nation's justice system.
Jamaica helped to be part of the design to make sure the court is independent and strong, with men of intellect and integrity to adjudicate the cases of the people. And the court uses audiovisual technology and it moves from island to island, so you can take your case there if you need to, and it don't cost you an arm and a leg. And I say to Andrew Holness again, why you want to deprive the people of Jamaica of access to justice, which is their fundamental right? Why, Andrew?
Golding reaffirmed the PNP's push for full judicial sovereignty.
And we have been fighting for it for decades. We want to establish a republic. We want full sovereignty for our people. Time comes for Jamaica to believe in itself and run its own affairs. But we're not into this piecemeal approach where they put the cart before the horse. Justice is important for the people, and we stand up for justice. And we say, if you want to move forward, come and talk to it with respect and give us some good argument. Otherwise, the show will not go on.
With general elections looming, Golding promised a government centered on the people as he threw his full support behind Crawford for the Northwest St. Catherine seat. Shante McNeil, CVM News.
All right. Before the break, we have joining me on set none other than Mr. Jordan Fort. Welcome, Mr. Fort.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I understand you're making waves this evening in the sports.
Well, I mean, if you've been tuned into social media or tuned into CVM TV, you'd have expected this by now. We have some exciting things coming up in sports. Of course, today is Monday match night in the Jamaica Premier League, so we'll preview that as usual. Yes. Plus, some exciting plans for motorsport. I'll tell you more about that as well.
All right. So we're hearing more from Mr. Ford right after this break and a few others. But stay with us for sports later on in the news.
GPS. My GPS app, the mobile app, brave as I said hot. With the mobile app, you feel know you can't flop the app in a happiness. Cause what? My GPS app easy, turn a riddle my light off it bright and it moon. If I want thing me love me GPS app, me I tell you about it in the tune. My GPS app easy, turn a riddle for me light off it bright and it moon. If I want thing me love me GPS app, yeah we fully outside with the crew. GPS, pouring what matters.
Hey you know all the people in your business?
You should take advantage of CVM TV's unbeatable small business advertising package. Trust me.
And get your goods and services in front of your customers today.
For $150,000, you get a high-quality professional commercial.
Plus 20 prime-time commercial spots.
That's massive exposure at a fraction of the cost.
Including on the #1 morning show in Jamaica, Sunrise.
So don't wait. Call us on 658-208-5377 and see your business goals happen right here on CVM Television.
We a big deal when we touch the ground. Yeah, a KFC when we pulling up. Anything for the taste of a KFC, big deal. The time by KFC is.
Welcome back to CVM News at 7. The Senate on Friday tackled concerns around the gig economy, calling for greater protections for those making additional incomes this way. But what exactly is the gig economy and why is it of concern? Here's Courtney Lewis.
So, more Jamaicans are starting to turn them handmade fashion and step away from the traditional 9-to-5 jobs. And although young people are redefining employment and monetizing their talents and resources, the sector faces challenges of sustainability due to economic and social constraints. Experts are now not only calling for greater social protection, but are highlighting personal responsibility as the gig economy emerges.
Everyone loves the idea of being their own boss. At least that's what members of the emerging gig economy have to say about the benefits of their daily operations. Formed out of the recession of COVID-19, freelance drivers, virtual assistants, creatives, and even service providers adopted different ways of making money, some gaining new experiences and opportunity through the flexibility of the gig economy.
We get a bit of financial freedom as well. I'm not gonna lie.
You also get to interact with customers directly, get to form linkages that working for somebody you wouldn't necessarily get to form.
Apart from deciding when and how much one may work, the freelancers say there's benefit in investing in oneself. Matthew Irving, freelance caterer, says proper planning allows freelancers and independent contractors to manage their finances.
Things that you'd get in a corporate job like healthcare benefits or like a pension and such, it is a bit of a concern sometimes, but there are other ways that you can, secure yourself. You just try to plan and you try to make your cap and your up and lower limits so you can have an idea of at least what you are making or what you are going to.
But as income and social benefits are based on the availability of a task or gig, the sector faces the challenge of sustainability in a changing society. Senator Cavan Gale cites the informality of the sector may lead to unfair treatment, with limited recourse and a lack of insurance or vacation benefit.
Because of the level of informality, they are not part of what would have been the regulated labor market.
And while the question of the gig economy's longevity looms, development economist Sandre Roden says the nation has made some provisions to safeguard some workers.
We do have the mechanisms for persons to pay their NHG, their NIS, to start their own pensions, which comes to a little bit of personal responsibility. That's where we have to start.
Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
But Courtney, prior to Friday's sitting of the Senate, were you aware of such a term as the gig economy, or did you have any idea what was happening out there in this way?
Well, we knew these jobs existed, but we didn't know the magnitude or how many people were really impacted by this sector. I mean, young people are now using this to redefine ideas of employment and really come into their own, be more creative and enjoy the flexibility of it. So,
seemingly one of the few positives we've heard of coming out of the pandemic.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Courtney.
Thanks, Nika.
We now turn to regional and international news. We begin with news in the region. Disappointing. Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley's comments when speaking to reporters following the official opening of a fishing facility in Moruga regarding the arrest and detainment of Commissioner of Police Erla Harewood Christopher. More from TTT News.
Promoted to Deputy Commissioner of Police in February of 2024, Junior Benjamin, a pastor at the Cathedral of Excellence Church in Tunapuna, continued to deliver sermons. On August 4th of last year, he did so while wearing a bulletproof vest to support his message delivered that day. Battle warning, don't turn back in battle.
In this fight, we cannot be afraid. We cannot cower. Hello, I don't care what is the crime situation. I don't care who is the crime. I got to be strong. Somebody shout to the pastor, say be strong. Be strong. Good, be strong. I need to hear that too. Be strong. Be strong. People don't want to leave their house. Pastor, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Hey, be strong.
In international news, U.S. President Donald Trump has announced new tariffs on all goods imported from America's three largest trading partners, China, Mexico, and Canada. More from the BBC.
The White House says that the tariffs are meant to, quote, hold China, Mexico and Canada accountable for the flow of undocumented immigrants and fentanyl into the United States. The tariffs are set to come into effect on Tuesday. That's according to the administration. Well, Canadian officials are decrying the Trump administration's move. In statements online, Ontario's Premier Doug Ford said that the tariffs will, quote, hurt America, writing that Canada now has no choice but to hit back and hit back hard. Meanwhile, China's Ministry of Commerce repeated its earlier message of caution that there would be no winner in a trade war. And Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has yet to issue an updated statement, but she has previously said that she would approach tariffs with a, quote, cool head.
That's it for regional and international news. Well, we now turn to Small Biz, Big Dreams with Adrian Williams.
Last week on Small Biz, Big Dreams, we looked into the business of Kevron Dunkley, CEO and founder for VK Vision in Black River, St. Elizabeth. This week, he gives us a tour around the historic town, showing us signs for businesses he has done, along with testimonials from people he has collaborated with and done work for.
He's one of the entrepreneurs that taught me most about what I know about business, right? He's been in the business for quite some time now as a technician and sales representative.
From about age 11, age 12, or younger, I'm tutoring. He's a good young man, and he's very professional like that.
VK Vision 16 Even Print, we have collaborated with them. They have done the sign on the door for us. Wonderful sign. Persons have been asking about the sign here. VK Vision, they were the persons who came on the day of the grand opening, and trust me, the photographs were lovely. Persons, well, I've recommended persons to him.
This 20-year-old has stamped his impact on a number of businesses. But now we talk with Deandra Palmer, the CEO and founder for 16 Even, a major brand which VK Vision partners with.
I'm the CEO and founder of 16 Even, the brand. So there are sub-brands. They have 16 Even department store, 16 Even Print, and we also have Aestheticus, which is a new sub-heading, which we do remodeling and all that. So this is interior designing. Also this part as well, I'm the interior designer. So downstairs as well. So yeah, it's white.
Going downstairs, we find the 16 Even department store, which sells household accessories and more.
What we focus on down here is stuff that cannot source easily in Black River. So like sheets, curtains, cushions, comforters. We also stock stuff for the kids. So we have electronic bikes, you have cars, you have drones, you have roller skate and skateboards. We also focus on appliances, which is hard to get. So we source air fryers, toaster ovens, we do cameras, we do tablets, we do phones.
With this 2-year-old business on a seemingly fast pace of growth, Deandra shares one concern.
And we're looking to get bigger, looking to have more people come on board. But as I say, we're going to need more space. So once Black River provide that, we can utilize it.
So just to be clear now, when you say once Black River provides it, meaning in what sense now?
Alright, it's a smart one. There isn't much space for growth as most of the older people that owns the lands and property, most of them not selling. So most of them just going to waste. So once they open up the spaces and say, hey, the young people them just take over. Yeah, we can just get bigger from there.
Okay. You think probably them afraid people turn it in a party spot and you have more noise. If you start about older people, you know them always think about these things, right?
That's true.
But it's just for you guys now to prove that you're on a different mission.
Yeah.
And not only about partying, which I mean has its pros, you know. But in this sense, older people can benefit from this as well.
Yeah, very well. So the bigger spaces we can get, we can provide the jobs. And everybody just happy after that.
I like the vision.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Next week, we venture just on the outskirts of Black River to a hidden spot. Tazen's Spot is the name, where you can get pampered and feel relaxed. This was Small Biz, Big Dreams. Dream big.
It's now time for social media. So, what's trending in our local social media spaces? The deluxe album Bob Marley One Love Music, inspired by the film, took home the award for Best Reggae Album at the 67th Grammy Awards. The other contenders for the award included Evolution by the Wailers, Shensia's Never Gets Late Here, Collie Buds' Take It Easy, and Vibes Cartel's Party With Me. Here are some of your reactions. At Lola Speaks Her Mind writes, good. Sensible music lives forever. At Zavon_S.H shares, congrats always, but many other talents are there with some great body of work. Also, dancehall is very different from reggae, so the category should be different. At Yardi_Angel says, this got to stop. We love Bob, but come on now. At Keem876 shares, I don't want to see any more Bob Marley Reggae Grammy wins, LOL. I've seen enough in my lifetime. The legacy is beyond cemented. At Rob Henry 20JA adds, the movie was worldwide, album worldwide, overstand the levels. And that's what's trending online today. Continue to share your thoughts with us on X at CVM TV and CVM Television on Facebook. I'm Courtney Lewis.
With natural herbs and regular usage will improve strength, stamina, and performance. Black Stallion now has horny goat weed to give maximum satisfaction. Black Stallion now has strong back roots to strengthen your upper and lower back muscle. Know your Black Stallion.
For strength, stamina, and performance, Black Stallion, the bedroom tonic. Bring out the stallion in you.
Thanks to my Prime Minister for this opportunity. For me to be a homeowner,
I was living in a terrible condition for so many years. Thank you again.
we just try to make life goes on with the little that we have.
It is the aspiration of the government. It is what the government tries to do every day to lift people out of poverty into a decent life. The new social housing program is a key component of the social safety net.
As I've always said, this is probably one of the most fulfilling programs for me because you literally see the transformation of people's lives.
The time by Grace Good Move is...
It's now time for sports. Now it will be a clash of the Gardens tonight as Arnett take on Tivoli in CVM TV's Monday match night at the Stadium East Field. The match kicks off at 7:45 p.m. Our reporter Ronaldo Adams is at Stadium East and he'll be giving us the information from that match as we continue to bring you Monday match night. And earlier, Champions Cavalier got their first win in 5 tries after they beat Vere United 2-1 in the early kickoff in the JPL this evening. This at the same venue. The Champions got their opener through Jalmaro Calvin in just the 9th minute of play. Kevon Atkinson drew Vere United level in minute 22. But Shaquille Stein grabbed Cavaliers' winner in minute 60. Now, Jamaica's young reggae girls suffered a 2-1 defeat to hosts Nicaragua in their Group E decider, the 2025 CONCACAF Women's Under-17 qualifiers on Saturday. Needing only a draw to advance, the Jamaicans entered the match as group leaders on goal difference. However, Nicaragua struck early in the 3rd minute, with Jamaica equalizing in the 33rd. The hosts sealed a victory with a 75th minute winner.
Given the go-ahead. High arcing ball, it sneaks toward the back post, lifts over Zavala, lofted back into the penalty area. Ball falls! Oh, it's the opening goal for Nicaragua! Turned over awkwardly, and the equalizing goal for Jamaica! It is Provost Aaron! Nicaragua just 1 goal away from qualifying. And suddenly Jamaica would be out. Excellent through ball here for Nicaragua. Is this the moment? Yes! Canales! It's it! It's full time! Nicaragua is going through! The 75th minute winner is enough! Nicaragua in!
All right, we'll take our first break. We'll be back right after this. Battle of the Gardens. 2 former champions. Arnett and Tivoli Gardens renew rivalry once again. Once one of the most heated matchups in local top-flight football, both teams battle for bragging rights under the lights. Monday Match Night has got you covered from build-up all the way through to the final whistle. Watch CVM TV Monday, February 3 to see Arnett versus Tivoli Gardens. Kickoff is 7:45.
Monday Match Night, powered by Sunshine Snacks and ABC Electrical.
What would you do if a date asked you how much you weigh?
Leave, slap him, cuss him.
It was going so well until...
Ask him how much his mama weighs.
Oh, we talking about weight, huh? Well, how much your mama weigh?
All new Family Feud.
You ain't got to worry about how much I weigh. You won't be feeling nothing over here.
Nardo.
What going on, man?
So you good? I've been here before. I can recall many nights up at Yui, hungry a killer, but guess what? There was some saving grace, a beacon of light and hope. On this episode of Corner Office, we are about to find out more about who.